All right, everybody, what's going on? Welcome to another episode of the Global Renaissance Podcast. We got the Toasted crew here today.
Yes,
Oliver, Benji, how y'all doing?
What's going on, brother man?
I'm doing
Doing
fantastic.
great. Thank you very much for having us. How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic. I'm glad y'all came on. So I'm not gonna do too heavy on the introductions. You guys go ahead, introduce yourselves, introduce Toasted Chef. What y'all got going on?
Thank you. My name is Oliver Prudent. I am Chef Ollie, and this is my partner Benji. And we are definitely the Toasted Chefs. We kind of not only created the brand and the image and the community, but Benji's been my marketing manager, kind of helping me really put that image out into the world. But what I really do is handle the products, the creation, and really kind of just taking care of the clients and pretty much connecting with everybody. So in a sense, that is exactly who and what we are.
That's dope. Benji, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Yeah. So thank you once again, Trev, for getting us on this opportunity. It's really great. So I'm Benji Celestin. Been marketing for Toasted Chef, kind of marketing manager, operations, stuff of that sort for the past 3, 4, 5 years, pretty much. Been a hot minute. But currently I just graduated from UMass Amherst, studied marketing there. But mainly here in TC, I've just been handling all the social media profiles. So I handle our Instagram, Twitter at times, Snapchat off and on occasionally, but also doing all the flyers, reaching out and getting some clients of our own for events and venues of that sort. So all encompassing in a way.
Dope. So Toasted Chef, for everybody who doesn't know, you guys, how do we call it? I guess you guys in the cannabis industry, something like that. And so this is definitely something that probably 5 years ago you might not have been able to do or even talk about like this. But you guys are officially licensed.
Yes,
Talk
sir.
about that. Like, what does that feel like to be like, okay, you're one of very few people. Ali, how old are you?
I'm 24
You're,
myself.
you're 24, Benji. You're 23.
22.
You're 22, right? Y'all are very young, and you got a license now to operate in the legal cannabis space. We're in Boston, Massachusetts. It's legal here. We're not, advocating for marijuana usage by anyone under 21. If you're in a state where it's not legal, don't be doing that. But if you are, it's something that's just like alcohol you can participate in. So what was that process like going out and just getting that license? What was that like?
To be honest, even before the license, it was, it took a while to really like register and set in that, we are operating in the cannabis industry. Because, where I really come from 5 years ago, I wasn't necessarily trying to, like, to be completely honest, where Toasted Chef came from is definitely like a personal story of how I was consuming at the time. Like, I'm Haitian. I grew up in a Haitian household. You feel me? Very almost religious and strict and structured and all that type of stuff. So it wasn't really, it wasn't even, it wasn't really something I could partake in like, freely and openly. You feel me? Where I would necessarily go smoke after school with a group of friends or whatever. It would cause me stress trying to go home and cover up and do all this extra stuff and then interact with my parents. So I had to find a way to start consuming without all that extra added stress.
Yeah.
So that's where the edibles came into play. So Toasted Chef really was servicing just me for the longest time. I was making my own edibles, and at first it was just like little basic stuff like cookies and crackers. I was making a firecracker, and I seen it on YouTube. OG, that's our first edible.
Really?
Actually, it was a firecracker, and all it is, it's a graham cracker with peanut butter. And what you do is you sprinkle the weed on the peanut butter that you spread on the cracker, and then you bake it, and then you put it together, and you wrap it in foil, and then you bake it again. And it's like super rudimentary, but like as I kind of got more knowledge in the edible game, I started to realize that what's happening is, peanut butter has a huge fat content, and THC needs a fat medium in a sense to pretty much like you can't just eat a nug and get high.
It's got to dissolve.
Exactly. So you need a fat medium to transfer that, so you can actually feel the effects. And that's really what's happening in the sandwich, in the little cookie cracker sandwich. When you bake it, and I was getting blasted off of like a .3. So I would get like a dim for $10 back in 2012, and I would make like 3-4 edibles, and that would last me like all week for real. And I could eat half an edible and be stoned.
Yeah.
And then people started like, yo, that's fire, because I would get people like tiny pieces, and they'll get high for like 4 or 5 periods,
Facts.
like the whole day. Like, yo, I'll give you $10, I'll give you $20 for that. Give me the whole cracker. And that's literally how Toasted Chef started. Like, it was really just for me, you know what I'm saying? And for my people, like literally people who, like Benji, also couldn't really consume like that openly and freely. So we were just like, that was kind of our thing. And then people kind of really just started vibing with it. And like, yo, the demand kind of created itself. And from there, we just started, when people start demanding their own pieces, they're like, yo, let me get a cookie instead of a cracker. Let me get a brownie instead of a cookie. And honestly, it kind of just went from there.
That's dope. How did you guys meet each other?
Yeah, so I'll talk about that. We actually, we go to the same church, so
nah. People really don't know what actually goes on in church. Like, you got service, but everything else at church is
you got
whack.
service and you got church.
Facts.
We've known each other for the longest. Like, I got family that lives near him. All my family knows him in a way, so we've known each other for years. And I guess I started really getting to Toasted Chef with Ollie, I want to say, my first year of college. So at UMass Dartmouth, when I was, just trying to get my own little footing in the world, figured out the best way to start getting into that scene was to do some simple graphics. So I'll reach out to Ollie, say, yo, let's just get a quick advertisement for your Oreo cupcakes. Let's get a quick advertisement for your TC lemonades, and we'll do either Snapchat videos, curated stuff like that. But we'll also I'll make Canva. I use Canva heavily throughout my time.
You put me on the Canva.
Yeah,
That's
so
all I use.
using that as an outlet to kind of create my own lane as to how I want to brand and how I want to design TC into its own image, kind of being kind of the face of underground cannabis in the city for a good period of time.
For sure. Benji, so you were a marketing major.
Yeah.
So what was the thought process of like, all right, I'm gonna take this like major at this school, which is like pretty traditional, and I'm gonna apply it to marijuana? Like, what went on in your head when you made that decision? I'm like, okay, I'm gonna do this.
Absolutely. I mean, like, I always saw it as marketing as an outlet to kind of create your own image or kind of your own message as to object. Like, if I could sell you that and market that cup right there into the best thing ever, then so be it. And so I figured with cannabis as a industry that's been long kind of like shunned for people like us, we get disproportionate amounts of pretty much BS thrown our way when it comes to getting in the industry. We don't have a proper footing, let's put it that way. So I figured with Toasted Chef, we kind of give ourselves that image, that brand to kind of be grassroots, reach out to the college, reach out to
recreate the story
in a way. It's more than just cannabis. We saw as cannabis bringing everything together. You meet friends with cannabis.
Facts.
Smoke a blunt with 2 or 3, 4 heads at a party that you don't know. Then you say, oh shit, we up, we lit, whatever.
Facts.
So we figured out with TC to make cannabis more of a social bringing.
Yeah, no. And you guys do like events too, right?
Yes, sir.
Can you talk some about, the process of putting together these events? Because what I don't want to get lost on people is like, y'all are running like a full scale business. Like, this is not a game. They're not just trapping on Snapchat. Like, they have a legitimate business with a license. They got an LLC. So can you talk about like the process of putting these events together and just what it does for the community in general?
Honestly, the events are the future. The way I see it is, it really is like the intersection of like community, cannabis, and networking and growth. You feel me? Because the events are not necessarily just like, oh, come and get super high. It's really like especially with the marketing, and Benji does a great job at this. It's about like, also on the last question you asked, it's really about how we create the story and how we curate, whatever event that it is. One of our first events that we ever did was Sip and Paint Night. And the Paint Night, it was dope and it was nice. Everyone who came through had fun and had a great time. But we shouted out a local artist, my homie Simba too, and he was the paint instructor. So I really tried to have, or I really tried to like really layer the community aspect. Not only is it the community coming out and enjoying this class, but it's a community organizer leading the class. So I really try to like push as much community networking, like intersections, you feel me, from art to cannabis to music, because he's an artist, he's a painter, he's a visual artist, graphic designer, but he's also a musician. So we had his music playing in the background, so it was cool. I was really trying to like layer it on as much as possible. And then for events that we did after that, trying to pretty much keep that community vibe, pretty much like let the people build the event for us. It's not necessarily we're building an event just to get people, to spend money with us. You know what I'm saying? Because that's never what it's about. It's more so about how can this event help us lead to more growth, more networking, more intersection. You feel me? How can we get people who are experts in fields that we've never touched? You feel me? I wanted to do like a financial literacy event next. And that's very much on our platform for, I want to say March or April. But getting financial literacy experts in Boston, you feel me? Like a lot of our boys are like these minor, major investors who know so much about crypto and so much about NFTs and this and that. So how can we curate events so that the community can get in on this knowledge? You feel me? So it's really just about helping each other grow.
Facts.
You feel me? And that's really how I try to focus it.
Where did you get the idea, like the first idea for a painting set? Was it just like you saw it? Because I know that's a thing that a lot of people do. Where did that idea come from? You were just like, I feel like putting something together?
Honestly, it was an easy way to have a positive vibe where people are coming through, having a program already curated and coordinated. You know what I'm saying? This isn't just a kickback. It's not just a party. You can be free and expressive. Like those are things I value. Like an ability to create a safe space, because Toasted Chef really honestly is a safe space for people to consume, grow, and learn. You know what I'm saying? Just like myself, like I couldn't go out and safely consume and come back home and feel completely cool and safe or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Now we're creating a space for people to come out. You know what I'm saying? People who also have had that experience in their past to come out to consume, to meet other people who are also like them, who've had this kind of like marginalized experience with cannabis because of the story surrounded by cannabis. Come out to these events and experience a whole new type of reality. Like, okay, we got an entire community of people who not just love this plant, but also feed into other aspects of life that we can learn from and grow with and kind of just network. And
it's an all-encompassing like social experience.
Facts. And I think that's super important because I think, over the years, obviously we're on the younger side, so we've probably grown up with a destigmatized view of marijuana. But for a lot of people, like marijuana is something that's like bad, like it's straight up bad, makes you lazy, makes you useless, this, that, and the third. Benji, can you talk some about like your relationship? Because I know Benji and I went to high school together. We went to a pretty prestigious high school in the area. You went to a pretty prestigious college. You did great, right? Can you talk about kind of your relationship or at least conception of it as you've grown older? Because again, that's something that someone seeing your background probably wouldn't expect. You're like, oh, this guy uses marijuana.
Yeah, absolutely. So I want to say from the beginning in high school, I mean, like Ollie, I'm Haitian, so I have a strict kind of upbringing that thing. Drugs, cannabis is just this whole negative connotation towards
it's crack.
So, so I was always kind of like had that connotation prior to high school, but I want to say meeting people that I know, I met when obviously teen Trevor and I, we experienced everything through weed. But even like, how I want to say this, it's just. Damn, I need a double take on this one.
Nah, you're good. What was the first? Do you remember the first time you ever smoked?
Yeah, 15. I was a camp counselor in New Hampshire. It was nighttime. One of my white boys, he pulled up on me and he said, I got this apple right here. We got some of this
Not the apple, yo.
That's
We
a
got some of
vivid.
this good stuff.
That's a vivid ass memory. He was like, "Yep, I remember that day for real, nigga. Nighttime and everything."
So he went to the basketball courts all the way in the woods, and I thought it was gonna be on some get out shit, but we smoked the apple, and I want to say everyone, like, when they first start smoking weed, they like see like the red and the green stars. You know what I mean? Like those spots and the shit.
Uh-huh.
So I was just like, it was just like
Zooted.
strobes,
Yeah.
literally. So that was my first experience, and
From there, it took off.
Yes, sir.
Ollie, what about you? Do you remember your first time?
Yeah, I do too. My foster brother Gene, God bless his soul, he he turned me out. I remember, no bullshit. To really frame it right, like I was probably like I don't know. I was a good, like, my dad molded me so I could be like him, right?
Mhm.
So when I first got into high school, I was on some like little church boy,
Yeah.
you know, like telling the kids who was smoking in the backfield, like, yo, that's not good, bro. We gotta go back to class. Like, and niggas are skipping.
It's
like,
always those ones.
little pastor kid for real.
Right.
So my foster brother Gene, you feel me? He came into the family, I want to say maybe 4 months before this experience, and my parents were, you know, trying to pretty much just do some good and take him in, and Gene was kind of like a role model for me. I'm not gonna front. He wasn't the best role model, but, you know, not for nothing. Like, he was a lot older than me. He just moved, right? You know, he knew how to move, how to take care of himself. So I just looked up to him. So when he was like, he actually got suspended from school. So he was stuck at home. So he gave me some bread. And he was like, yo, go get a dub from whoever sells weed at your school. I'm like, damn. All right, cool. So he pretty much, you feel me? Like, I'm just like, all right, now I got to go buy weed and bring it back to him. So I did that. I was like, fuck it. And the dude who I actually copped weed from was like, I know you don't be buying weed, so I'm going to bless you. And I'm going to give you, I think he gave me like 7 grams for $20. No
Damn.
bullshit. Like, he was like, you know, he was a plug. So he
Yeah.
was just like, that's weird. I know I'd never see you buying weed, so let me just bless you and see what's up. So you feel me? Like, I served my brother the dub, and I kept
You kept the 5.
I
yeah,
kept
yeah.
5 grams, you feel me, to the side. I'm just like, I know he's gonna need more weed. The nigga suspended. So
Facts.
you feel me? And the next day he was like, yo, go get another dub. That was some good weed. So I just served him you feel me? I'm just serving him another 20, nigga. I'm making my own sack at this point. And then he was like, all right, go get a tray. So he gives me $40. And back then a tray was like $40, $60.
yes,
You feel me? So he gives me $40, and then I go grab the tray. And then I think this time, you feel me? Like, he blessed me again, but this time I split it in half and I blessed him too. And then he was like, yo, since I got some extra, let's smoke. And I'm like, damn, not what I was expecting. I'm thinking the nigga's like, yo, let me just buy everything type shit. Nah, he's like, fuck it. I was like, all right, cool. So I smoked with him. I was mad nervous, you feel me? But I was like, fuck it. Like, I'm already selling weed.
Yeah.
Might as well figure out what it's like.
Facts.
And then zooted, bro. Like, all I remember is we pulled up to the back. We, like, smoked by the basement door. You know, it was cool. It tasted horrible. I almost, like, threw up. Like, I was coughing. You feel me? I remember the cough. And then the spit was mad thick. I thought I was about to throw up. Never smoked before, so I didn't know what it was like. And then I got inside. We were playing Call of Duty. And the guns were so loud in my ears. I thought my heart was like beating, like the guns like.
Yeah.
I thought that was my heart, and I thought I was about to die. I was like, "Yo, turn the game off, go to bed. Like, it's a wrap. I'm not dying."
That shit is crazy.
I'm like, I'm not dying playing Call of Duty.
That's funny,
That was an
man. The
interesting
first time
experience.
is always interesting. I'm gonna put this on pause. Oh no, I'm not just about to go up. But I'm gonna put it on pause. We're gonna run this back. But that shit is funny as hell. All right. Had a couple technical difficulties, but we're back. We had actually a dope conversation off camera. I'd asked a question on camera, but my camera had turned off because it wasn't charged. Whatever. But we had a really dope conversation off camera, so I wanted to bring some of that back to the recording. So can you talk about just like we talked about the growth, but it didn't get captured. So can you talk about some of the growth that you've experienced both with yourself and with the brand and like the different things you've been able to experience?
Yeah. So for me, mainly personally, I think it was communication and making sure that I'm organized in all accounts, you know, especially handling the social media for Toaster Chef. having to make sure that I'm communicating my message effectively while I'm when I'm posting our products, or I'm communicating my message effectively to our clients when they're trying to reach out about our products, or even when I'm trying to convey our message to get a opportunity going for an event or so on and so forth. So I think communication, my ability, and that has definitely increased and definitely improved over the past couple of years. But I also think is my ability to stay organized and stay kind of cool and controlled in the midst of the bullshit. You know, there's I was speaking off camera that our social media pages has been taken down. I don't know how many times I can count on my hands. But in the midst of all that, the awareness and the engagement that came with our audience on account of the support and the account of the trust that we built with them, that was really essential. So staying organized and staying cool and compact in the midst of the bullshit, whenever things get kind of wiry, we know that we could always sustain that same level of engagement and reach with our audience.
Facts. That definitely speaks to a lot of the same growth experience within the brand as well. Because of like what Benji just said, like we're very much operating under the table black market kind of cannabis, underground cannabis for Boston, and we're creating that scene honestly because there weren't so many players back then. Back 2016, 2017, there weren't really so many brands really doing much of that work. So a lot of it was us again shooting into the scene. Remember, I think to one of your earlier questions, I think I didn't realize I was working in the cannabis industry until so many years after, like 2 or 3 years after. And I'm like, oh, like when you talk about Boston cannabis, a lot of people really do only know the few people who were able to put them on, create that safe space for them to consume, right? Because a lot of people's stories with cannabis come from ignorance or come from like, oh, that's bad.
That negative stigma.
You feel
Facts.
me? Oh, that's crack. Like this, and that. Like the way my parents seen it. But for the large Boston population that didn't have that sort of relationship, or did have that sort of relationship even, to get introduced to cannabis the way that Toasted Chef was introducing them, they really did like create that base level foundation of trust, so that when we did experience those rocky moments, you feel me, like we were able to kind of like keep cool and collected because our community was tight. There weren't so many players in that game. So if these people did need these services, they would find us one way or another. Like on Dogs, like I got emails like to my personal email. How they find it, I don't know.
No.
You know what I'm saying? But like when our Snapchat and our Instagram got taken down 3, 4, 5 times, like I was getting hit up by all of our clients like, yo, what's the new page? You know what I'm saying? Send me the page details so I can go repost it on the group story to get all the clients back. You feel me? So it was like there were little pockets of these communities already budding. So the growth really was learning how to weave it all together, and honestly just putting myself on point too, because for the longest time, I guess, and this is what we were speaking off camera, but I was looking at the business from a really kind of like a small-minded position. It was just looking at it kind of like from a plug mentality. You feel me? Like, because where I came from, I was a plug. Like I was selling weed, and then it became edibles, and then other products like carts and things like that. So all I was really focusing on was just, boom. I spent $600 on a QP. I'm trying to make sure that in all these little things I'm doing with it, whether I'm selling weed, whether I'm selling edibles or pre-rolls, like I'm making back 1,000 plus. And that was really just my focus. Like I'm here to double my money. You know what I'm saying? So when it came to things like being punctual, being organized, being, even just like other things that honestly that built the community. It wasn't until I like realized like, all right, I need to be all around on point, and it's not just about doubling up and making that profit that makes you a successful businessman. It really is how you treat all aspects of the business, from how you treat your clients, how you respect their time, how you can honestly just not do things like on a whim, really.
Right.
Just give them that respect of planning in ahead. Like, all right, I got your order, plan for 2 days in advance so that I can ensure that I have it, rather than not marking anything down when people tell me anything, so that when the day comes, like, all right, I'll figure it out on the day of, and then probably come up on delays and this and that. So it was like really kind of moving out of that plug mentality. It's not about the profit, it's not about doubling, tripling up. It's more about sustainable growth focusing on the people and their needs, and then how do you kind of go above and beyond for those same people and those same needs. You know what I'm saying? So once I kind of got out of that mind frame where it's not about the money no more, I really experienced growth. You feel me? Because that's really when I started to hear people like, yo, I got a birthday coming up. And then I'm like, all right, you can either get 10 edibles or I can make you a cake. You know what I'm saying? So that's where growth just became so organic. I'm now focusing on these people's needs. I'm really listening to them. You know what I'm saying? It's like, doesn't really make sense to spend on 10, 12, 13, 15 products when you can get just one product that's probably costs less, you feel me, easier to transport and all this extra stuff, but it actually satisfies the need that you're looking for. You know what I'm saying? So when I started paying attention to my clients on that level, you feel me, like really kind of seeing through the lines, I guess, and also seeing through myself and really paying attention, that's really where the growth really kind of skyrocketed, and I started seeing growth for myself too, because then it wasn't about just like I said, about the money or just about making quick flips or just about keeping shit easy. It was really about keeping shit going for the long run.
Right.
That's the only reason or the only way we really got here now too.
And I think that's one of the things that I love so much. One about just the cannabis space in general. I think a lot of people, Benji, you were saying this earlier, like you meet people, you grow these communities. And I think that's something you guys have done really, really well. I think I've been following y'all on Snapchat since like 2017, 2018. And I would always just remember you posting the screenshots of people's like after they get the product, like, yo, clap, this is crazy. I'm like, yo, there's no way it's that crazy. I tried it, it was that crazy. But it's like the fact that you even understood at that point that the customer, the client, their reviews, their input matters so much. I think that's super important. And how do you guys go about fielding feedback and improving yourself? Because you were saying before, like, your stuff has only gotten more potent, it's only gotten better, you've become a better chef. How do you go about fielding the feedback so that you can become better?
Honestly, it's about being receiving. Honestly, I think feedback comes back on all ends. It's just about, are you receiving it? You know what I'm saying? It's like, no feedback is also feedback. You know what I'm saying? Either no feedback tells you this client either, one, is super clapped, forgot their phone, whatever, or two, doesn't feel comfortable enough to share their experience with you. You guys didn't build that relationship. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's a regular plug client relationship. That's a plug client relationship. You feel me? Like, that nigga hit you up for some za, you deliver the za, and that's it. That's the end of the conversation. You're not hitting him back like, yo, how'd you like the za? Because, if he needs it, he's gonna hit you. But really, it's about really creating a space for feedback to come freely. Like, so my client can hit me back like, yo, I don't feel like I have to rave about this product. I feel like I can give you honest feedback. Like, yo, that was cool, but I was expecting something more. Or, honestly, bro, I was expecting more and that didn't hit at all. Or, I don't know what I was expecting and I'm clapped. You know what I'm saying? But it wasn't just about like screenshotting all positive reviews, because there were points in time where I also interjected, not necessarily negative reviews, but constructive criticism, where people is like, yo, here's one thing that I think could make this better. And then screenshotting that and putting it up. Yo, what do y'all think? What do y'all think, Snap? You know, and like opening up the space and showing people that it's not necessarily, I'm not looking for, yo, this product is great 100% all the time. Like, nah, I'm looking for, what do you think? You feel me? Like, what is the feedback? How could this be better? You know what I'm saying? And then honestly, like that quickly became just the common conception all throughout the Snap, from people who just added me, you feel me, and was just watching my Snap for like a couple weeks, a couple days. They knew like, all right, I can easily kind of just like have a conversation with this guy. He's not just a plug, like he's an actual, he's here. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can talk to him, right? And if I have an issue with my order, I can also bring it up and not feel some type of way, or not feel like he's gonna feel some type of way. And I think that's it. It's just about creating a space to receive, because if your people aren't in a space where they feel like their words matter, then they're not gonna speak.
For sure.
I want to say one of the biggest examples of that, in the industry that I work with outside of Toaster stuff, there's a term that we use when it comes to making sure your clients come first, and that's just doing right by your clients, doing right by the shareholder. And I think one of the biggest examples of that was our order form. So to kind of touch on that, well, like I said, we were primarily on Snapchat, Facebook, Instagram, and it came to a point where many of our clients couldn't get that reach to us, couldn't get that access to us because we were getting hundreds of orders at a given week. So constructive criticism came with that. Yo, how about get an order form, make it more organized from our people? And it kind of came to a point where by getting that, what Ollie said, receiving, it kind of gave us the ability to adjust to the point where, okay, we see that on Snapchat, we're not giving our clients the proper attention that they need when it comes to their order, when it comes to how fast they want it, when it comes to what specifics they need. And then adapting, being that mindset of, okay, let's get an order format when it's all, we get all of our data from our clients on this particular platform solely, so we don't have to just keep on running back and forth.
Because that was the real thing. It was just like, people were hitting us up on Facebook, so we got Facebook DMs, and we got Instagram DMs, and we got Snapchat DMs.
Yeah.
And that's why, like, honestly, Benji's position was so vital, and he played it so well, honestly, but it was really about, like, coordinating all those things and feeding them into one. Like you said, that order form really, if we didn't listen, you feel me, that we would have been operating on 3 different platforms for the
100%.
longest. And that order form, like, changed the whole game. Bullshit. Like, going from getting all those 100 orders per week on 3 different platforms, now we're posting a link on all those 3 different platforms to this one single order form. And you just fill it out, name, address, blah, blah, blah. What do you want? And that's it. You feel me? And then, boom, as soon as the order comes in through the form, it feeds through a spreadsheet, nice and organized, and we both get a notification. Boom, someone just filled out the order form. Boom, you got 3 orders on the order form. Boom, that's it. So now it's like, cool, we can dispatch, we can delegate, we know what we need for these orders. It's not like we had to read the whole conversation and then figure out what this person finally needs. You know what I'm saying? This person already just done filled it out, boom, and it's like, all right, now we can reach out to this person. All right, it's gonna take a day, it's gonna take 2 hours, or we're on our way. Simple.
Man, that's dope. And I think systems, man, like systems are super important when it comes to running a business. And then, like I said, this is a full-blown business operation you guys got going on. I don't want anybody to think, like you said, this is not like, yo, you're the local plug. Like this is
ain't no course correct.
No, like this is really like a full-blown business that you guys are running. And so to have those systems in place to receive feedback, to streamline the ordering process, everything you guys have in place, I think is really, really, really effective. But also, I remember seeing that order form, and it in a client or customer's mind, you boost your credibility because like, oh, I don't just swipe up, like I gotta like hit an order form, like, oh, y'all are official.
We thought about that
For
too.
the longest time, no bullshit, I remember we was getting so much shit like, yo, who do you think you are? I remember that. For the people who weren't, for the people who weren't necessarily putting in orders and they're saying like, oh, put up the order form, y'all, if y'all want to get your orders. And there was a point where I was like on some like real like guerrilla shit. I was just like, yo, you're not getting an order if it's not on, because we were really trying to set that system in place because people were still trying to hit us up on Facebook, hit us the DMs like, yo, can I get this and this delivered to this address at this time? I'm like, yo, there's an order form for that.
Facts.
You feel me? And niggas is like, who do you think you are? Like, how are you gonna change the way people have been getting drugs for the past 100 years? Nigga, I'm Toasted Chef. Like,
Facts.
This is how it's gonna go.
Exactly.
And that's another thing about when you realize this is the game you're playing, you don't have to play necessarily by the rules.
Facts.
Like this is a game, this is the playing field. You just got to get the ball into the goal. You feel me? And there's like, I love the cannabis industry and also any other industry. It just really shows you how creative people could be to solve people's problems or solve their own problem. And it's like, yo, this could be as official as a fucking like a call center. When you call customer support, like it could be as official as that, or it could be as ghetto as, you feel me, Mattapan Projects. Swipe up, nigga. Where you at? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like send your location. It could be whatever it is we make it, but like now it's like we're changing the way people interact with the concept of receiving an order. You know what I'm saying? It's like usually you just hit the plug, you get the drop. Now it's order form, receive order, wait for your delivery driver, because it could be a completely different person every day. We got 4 delivery drivers. You feel me? So it's like I'd rather it be a smooth streamline
Yeah.
with less conversation. You feel me? As much
Exactly.
as I do like connecting with my clients, those little things is just about getting your order to you.
Mhm.
So if we can do that, if we can figure it out on some sort of automated platform, boom, now you can talk to me about anything that's really, really important through DMs. Because now I can actually look at DMs. You
Exactly.
feel me?
Because before, it was
just
flooded.
fucking
Yeah.
80 requests and some more shit. I'm just like, yo.
Now DMs are like feedback, and DMs are like event
Yeah.
inquiries and shit
Yeah.
like that. That's important.
Some growth shit. Like, I know my DMs is going to be some lit conversations because I already got all the money stuff out the way.
Yeah, that's important. Filter out like the stuff that doesn't need to be handled by you in that way so that you can handle what's actually important. That's a gem. We're gonna take one more pause and then we're gonna get back to it.
Right.
Yes, sir.
So cool. So we've talked a lot about, y'all journey just getting to a place where, I mean, from what I know, y'all are one of the premier, if not the premier, people in y'all space in Boston.
Thank you.
What are you most proud of so far?
I can go ahead. I would say I'm most proud of our development and the community's reaction to it. Like I said, we're coming from a place where at one point it was swipe up, we're on the move. Mattapan, Rosendale, Hyde Park, Dorchester, Roxbury, tap in, Toasted Chefs on the move, to a point where we have a whole cohesive website. That's all off the strength of our support of our community. You know what I mean? Like I mentioned before in the beginning, cannabis is a social experience. It's supposed to be an all-encompassing experience. It shouldn't be weird.
Facts.
There shouldn't be a social negative stigma to it. It brings people together, and with Toasted Chef, we're trying to kind of ease that stigma to a point where, yes, you get your edibles, you get your weed, you get your whatever, but it's streamlined in an easy way and in a comfortable way. You want to have that human element, and I think that over the past years, we developed it to a point where it's not cannabis first, it's empathy first, then cannabis.
Hell
So,
yeah, man.
yeah.
Honestly, I'm most proud of our ability to stick together and just continue kind of like, keeping things in perspective. Like, even like I had spoken on when I had experienced my seizure and things kind of went dark and I didn't even really know exactly. Like my seizure was caused by stress. And that stress was also caused by how I was managing and running Toasted Chef at the time. So, there was just so much things up in the air, a big question mark. And like I said, also, like there were points in time, like I didn't even know if I would keep going. I didn't know if I could keep going for health reasons and some more shit. But really, it's just kind of like, in that time, Benji also helped, like by taking some of that load off my shoulders. You know what I'm saying? Still on that, like reaching out to people, still trying to like lock in some future collaborations, but just really just trying to like just build and keep things moving, even when I couldn't necessarily see exactly how my next step was going to be formed. So it's just being able to see each other grow together. And also, not for nothing, just like he said on the community aspect, like my website was built by my client. You feel me? Like most of the services that built Toasted Chef were provided by the people who I serve on a daily basis.
100%. We can't thank y'all enough.
Like, no bullshit, you feel me? Like that's the major thing I'm proud of. Like I know in a sense that my community got me no matter what. You feel me? That's the security. You feel me? Like they know I got them no matter what. Them niggas can hit me. Literally, like I be busting plays and doing these deliveries ass crack at dawn, middle of the night. You feel me? But that's, I gave them myself. Like I put it on the table and I was like, here's, what do you need? I'm here. I got you. And they also responded with, what do you need? I'm here. I got you. Like anything, like you could add, like you used to see it on the Snap. If I ask the Snap a question, I'm getting what I asked for. You feel me? If I ask for a fucking bicycle, like no bullshit. I
asked for cats.
I asked for cats and I got 7 cats.
That's fucking crazy.
I said, yo guys, I'm moving into a new crib. I'm about to be alone. I need a cat. I got like 7 cats. You know what I'm saying? Well, first it was 2, and then boom, they had cat sex.
Yeah.
And then I had 5 more cats. And that's just you know, but that's love. Like I love them niggas. I love the community we built, because at the end of the day, it's not because I know I can get what I asked for. It's more so because I know that if they need something, I got them. If I need something, they got me. And it's just kind of growing like that consistently, sustainably, and with very, very clear visions for the future. And that's sustainable, and that's something I know I can bank on. You feel me? That's what I'm the most proud of.
Yeah, that community support is super important. And I think it stems from exactly what you said. You put yourself out there and you were willing to give. And when you're willing to give, you will always get back what you put out.
Sure.
So I think that's super important. And you mentioned some, super future plans. What's coming down the road for Toasted Chef? What can people expect from y'all?
Well, honestly, there's a lot coming. There's a lot more coming now, and it has a lot less to do with the kitchen,
Yes.
and more to do with getting everyone truly involved.
More about the brand, for sure.
Way more about the brand, and really, honestly, taking these steps, like this exact step, like really just being able to tell our story, solidify, like not just who we are in the community, but also let the community know that we're here, for those who either have known us or have no idea who we are, this is who we are, you feel me? So this is a great part of setting up that next chapter. But honestly, we're going to be focusing heavily on, just keep on pushing that story, and focusing on merch, also focusing a lot on, I want to get more people in the kitchen themselves. So I'm also going to be doing like a spin-off of workshops, and doing toasted cooking classes.
That's fire.
So I'm going to be doing kind of like a lot to do with my personal brand, and feeding that into Toasted Chef as seamlessly as possible, teaching people not just how to, make some of the dishes that they love already, but kind of engaging them, pretty much building on their own skill sets, and pretty much just still once again growing together. Another one of my major projects that I'm pretty much in the process of forming right now is a collection of NFTs, and that's something that's going to be, it's a long-term project, but that's something I'm very, very excited for.
Be on the lookout for toasted NFTs, man.
Yeah, that's gas.
Got a nice little collection budding up.
That's fire.
It's just really about, just that community piece, you feel me? Solidifying everyone, consolidating everyone, putting everyone to our website so that everyone can get subscribed, so no one misses anything, really. And then kind of just like rolling out, more information as the year goes on, like when that collection will be available, how many pieces will be available in the collection, and also kind of like edifying people as well, you feel me, on a financial literacy base. I told you that one of our next events, which is coming up in March or April, is going to be a financial literacy focused event, because a lot of people don't know that much about crypto and NFTs.
Especially from that community.
You feel me? Like from the hood, like these are things that we could tap into and make a bag from our phones, and it's like no one really takes the time to teach us anything about that shit. You know what I'm saying? It's like we're literally on Instagram scrolling past this stuff every day, and it's like now I really want to give everyone an opportunity to not just learn about crypto or NFTs, but also like invest and profit as well. You feel me? It's not just about like learning about this shit. I want to give you a way to actually tap in. You feel me? And you feel me? I'm gonna make it so easy to tap in. It's gonna be like, why haven't I tapped in? But that's more for the future.
Heard you. Benji, anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, definitely in terms of the brand, just continuing to make the relevant content that kind of feeds into our audience. So reaching out for any community-based events where we can kind of bring our cooking showcases up. I know we did a recent Haitian subjumo.
Yeah, so I worked with the Gilbert Albert Community Center over on Washington Street, by the Four Corners area.
Yes,
and
sir.
there was a Haitian cooking competition for a subjumo competition. And I placed third, and it was a nice competition. It was dope. But it was like all, very community based. It was Haitian community.
Yeah.
So it was like you already know how like tight the Haitian community is. So being able to like kind of like not just see your people, but also like let them know that this is what you do. I'm out here, I'm doing this, I'm trying to teach people how to cook. and also not necessarily like, yeah, I do very much like the weed aspect is going to be tied in, but it's really about creating a foundation of one community safety and comfort, so that everyone, once they're here, can freely explore like what it is. You feel me? But it's like now we all have the same foundation. You feel me? It's something for the community. It's food, it's learning, and it's growth. Everyone who does tap in will be able to walk away with something. And whether you mess with the weed or not, as I do know that the Haitian community is just largely kind of against, especially the older crowd.
Yep.
That's something I do very much hope to change, like the way people interact with cannabis, or at least the way we think about it. I don't necessarily want anyone, like you said earlier, I'm not out here to encourage everyone to start, medicating and getting high, but it's just about understanding the plant from a different perspective. You feel me? Being aware, because the benefits are largely underreported, as kind of like the stigmas and prejudices are so largely over exaggerated, and it just doesn't make sense. You feel me? Like, imagine if people started to see that you could juice weed, right? And I know this is kind of like left field or whatever, but no bullshit, weed has so many like medicinal compounds that we're just still figuring out. Like, weed has been like around for however, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, when it comes to scientific study, like, we're only figuring out the benefits more and more each day. You feel me? When you take the plant in its raw form, just like alkaline vegans do, and they start juicing raw veggies and raw fruits, and they get in all these like wide varieties of minerals, phytonutrients and all that stuff. You take weed and you do the same thing, you're getting almost 33 times the amount of nutrients in your, most nutrient dense foods like berries or any type of fruit or any type of leafy greens. You know what I'm saying? Like, the weed that you literally take a nug and you roll up, if you juice that and you're able to like actually consume that, like, it's like taking a multivitamin times 30. You know what I'm saying? So it's like changing the way we interact with the plant. It's not just about getting high. It's about, how do you prevent illness? How do you prevent dementia? Because that's another thing that it actually helps with. You feel me? It's straight, like, when you're not smoking and consuming, some of the compounds are like really good for strengthening some of the way the muscles and the brain work, and reestablishing some of those neuron connections and shit. And it's like, with time, who knows what it could really be, but it's like, until we really start at least considering and exploring it, you're never gonna get there.
That's a fact.
You know what I'm saying? So weed is so much more than what it is now.
Facts.
And I'm trying to find a way to get people to understand that.
That's dope. I think that awareness is super important, man. Where can people find both of you individually? Where can they tap in with Toasted Chef?
ToastedChef.org. Our website is the one-stop shop for all your cannabis needs, catering, as well as the place where we update our events, not just weekly, but also all the events to come in the future months. You can find us on Instagram as well, toastedcrew.tc.
Yep.
And my personal Instagram is KXNGOliver.
My personal Instagram is Benjamino, BenJymino. And then you can follow us on all the platforms, Twitter, Toasted Chef _
And then also we have a website where it's really just kind of like a portfolio website, chefolidining.com. But if you are interested in catering, not only can you check some of our past catering orders and clients, but you can also see what our menu offers, chefolidining.com.
And yes, for those that are asking, we do non-infused culinary work and infused culinary work. So don't worry, we got you covered on all ends.
Your last one-stop shop for everything you need in the kitchen, out the kitchen, and all that good stuff.
Make sure y'all tap in with Toasted Chef. This has been a great interview. I appreciate you guys coming through.
Thank you for having us, bro.
Listen, if you're listening to this on YouTube, make sure you like, comment, subscribe. If you're listening to this on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, go ahead and leave it a review, 5 stars. Make sure you tap in with my boys right here, because they got you covered. If you want to eat it, they got you. If you want to, get a little high, they got you too. Make sure you tap in with them. I'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace.